Hello, everybody. Thanks again for visiting my YouTube channel. Here we discuss the Lord's Recovery Movement of Witness Lee, also known as the local church movement. Well, we're talking about shepherdingwords.com, a website from the co-workers of the Lord's Recovery in America, aka the Blended Brothers, aka the Living Stream Ministry guys. And they are attempting to throw out some information to convince people that complaints about their status and standing are invalid, complaints about their history are invalid, and so forth. And I talked about it yesterday and said I wasn't really interested in taking these things on, but on second thought, I decided I would go ahead and do it, but I'll try to keep it short. So today I want to take on the idea of deputy authority. They just have one page here so I can kind of go through it and hit some points and try to point out the errors and fallacies and problems with what they say. The first question they ask is deputy authority biblical? And they say it is not only biblical, it's a vital part of the divine revelation concerning God's government among men. Well, yes and no. God does set up authorities, we know that, but the Bible never calls them deputy authorities. So that's a little invalid. What they're leading up to here, what they're trying to do is to establish a chain of logic which leads up to people submitting to them and Witness Lee and their ministry. That's where they're tracking to. So you got to understand that. Yes, God sets up authorities. The Bible says clearly that secular authorities are set up, kings and leaders and governments are set up, and we're supposed to submit to them and we're supposed to obey. And the Bible also says that we're supposed to obey our church leaders. But they take this stuff to an extent that can't hold. And that is establishing these extra local or extra church authorities like apostles or claim to be apostles, co-workers that you're supposed to submit to because they have some kind of deputy authority that's been bestowed on them. I've said before that if you voluntarily join a church or you voluntarily go to work for a ministry, it's understood that you are going to submit to the leaders there. That's part of the deal. But you neither have to join that church nor do you have to go to work for that ministry if you don't want to. And you can quit if you want to. In other words, their authority is based upon your association with their organization. If you're a member or you become a co-worker, yeah, you should cooperate. But you don't have to be a member and you don't have to be a co-worker. Their authority does not work that way. Now they start talking about apostles. But as I've said in the Bible, the station of apostle was a special station that was established in the first century for the establishment of the church before the Bible was written. They were the living Bible. And they had direct association with Jesus himself. They had seen the Lord, they had been with the Lord, and they were directly commissioned by him when he was here in physical form. They also had, as 2 Corinthians 12:12 says, the real apostles, true apostles, had the ability to work miracles. That was something the Lord gave them to prove their status. And it's the same thing he did. Now, Jesus lamented a little bit that people wanted signs and wonders, though they wouldn't believe. But yet, at the same time, he did them to make people believe. He wasn't lamenting the fact that the signs and wonders were needed. He was lamenting the fact that the people couldn't recognize who he was. He was talking about himself. He wasn't talking about apostles. He never said we need to recognize apostles even if they can't work signs and wonders. Okay, then they go on to say God establishes authority, and there are three bases of authority. They say revelation, resurrection, and ministry. If you have revelation, resurrection, and ministry, you have some authority. Well, okay, that's pretty broad and that's pretty subjective though, because I would say just about every Christian has some revelation, resurrection, and some ministry. Now maybe some have more, that's arguable, but the question is how do you recognize who has the most and who decides? And here's where we run into the problem and the whole problem with what the guys in the Lord's Recovery want you to believe. Because there is no way in this day and age to determine who's got the most revelation, who's got the most resurrection, and who has the most ministry. There is no way in this day and age to determine for everyone or to establish in a broad sense a standard for which everybody else has to submit to of who is the deputy authority. Who's going to decide? Either the deputy authority is going to say, I'm the deputy authority, Some third party person or group is going to tell you this person is a deputy authority, or you're going to decide for yourself. So the only one that can work is the last one, where you decide for yourself. It doesn't matter if somebody claims deputy authority. What difference does that make? I can claim it. Does that mean people have to follow me? But that's basically where they're tracking to, where they're trying to get to. Witness Lee had all this revelation, and Witness Lee had all this resurrection. Supposedly, he's not on the earth now. And Witness Lee had all this ministry. Well, I can point out a bunch of guys in the world that have all three. And if I think they have more, I should follow them, right? In other words, it's up to every individual to decide who they're going to follow. You can't decide for everybody else, and it's ridiculous to go around claiming it. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to impress you so much with Witness Lee that you think you have to follow him. And now you still have to follow him, even though he's been dead for 22 years, because his ministry was so fantastic, and they're backing it up. Now, who's the deputy authority today? The stuff they pull, the backstabbing and the character assassination and the lies and the carrying on and the hiding of history and the elevation of Philip Lee, the serial molester, and blowing up churches in the Midwest and calling people rebels, calling people leprous, and calling people men of death, and calling people agents of Satan. These guys are nuts. Does God set up authorities? Yes, he does. Can the blended brothers tell you who they are? No, they can't. They can make a suggestion. They can say, I think this guy's got some stuff. But if you don't agree with them, that's the end of the conversation. You don't have to. They got no authority to tell you who is the authority. That makes absolutely no sense. So anyway, that's it on deputy authority. One down and several to go. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Take care.